There's an old song with lyrics something like the following: "If I close my eyes forever, would everything stay the same?" That line is a haunting refrain to me. The individual in that song has, in that moment, reached what they believe is the apex, the pinnacle, the peak of their life, and they're afraid to let it drift away. They're afraid that what comes next is less, lower, and not as good. Have you reached the pinnacle? How do you know if you have? Are you at the pinnacle now? Was it in the past? Will it be in the future? Do you actually really have a pinnacle in your life? Those are a few thoughts that often kind of roll through my mind. And I can say for certainty that as good as my history has been, and with the struggles and the things that I thought were terrible and the things that I thought were great, as I move forward and my perspective shifts, some of those terrible things weren't so bad. Some of the great things weren't actually that great. But I think that the pinnacle is still in the future. What about for you? Where are you at in that journey? Now, I see so many people, and myself included, they'll get trapped or stuck. And I've been there so many times before. Maybe you have too. And when those moments, you feel like there's nothing else to do, and you're just doing this daily grind, and you just feel overwhelmed, or you feel frustrated, or you're just pushed to the limit. Or maybe it's not even pushed to the limit, but there's just not that excitement and that fire for you. Have you ever felt that way? If you have felt that way, maybe instead of being at a pinnacle, you're down in a trough right now. Now, what I found is some people, they can just move like waves on the water, and they're going through these ups and downs in their life, but they keep moving across that water, right? And they'll keep having those ups and they'll have downs. Other people, it seems like they're on just kind of this flat or slightly declining trajectory in life, where they're getting older, they're accomplishing less, they don't have a lot that they really look forward to. They wake up, do their daily routine, go back to bed, but they don't really have that fire. And as I look out in the world and I think about that, have you ever noticed how the people that don't have the fire, they still have things they'd like, they still have goals, maybe you have something you've been wanting to do, but for some reason, even though you're standing right here and you know the thing that you want is over there, you don't start walking towards it. And maybe there's a multitude of reasons why. It could be fear. I know that fear can just cripple people. I was talking to someone recently and they wanted to start a business, then they wanted to involve their kids in it, but they were afraid. And fear is perfectly natural, it's acceptable, and it can be a really good thing because it can help you identify areas that could be a problem. But with fear also, when we let it own us and control us, rather than having it help move us towards our goals in an intelligent way, it just will put us into a cage where we don't see a way out. The crazy thing with fear is if you reach into your own pocket, you can pull the key to unlock that cage out of the pocket of your mind. When you accept that you might feel fear, but it doesn't have to stop you, you can also turn and start moving towards the goal even with the fear. Another option is you can acknowledge the fear, thank it for trying to protect you. Oftentimes fear is your body's response to the unknown, trying to stop you so that you don't get hurt. So if you acknowledge and thank your body for trying to help you, you can move forward through that fear and eventually put that fear to rest. But there's also a ton of other reasons. Sometimes you just feel emotionally drained. You just don't have the energy. You don't know what step to take. I would say in those situations, there's always a way forward. If you want something bad enough, it doesn't have to be a big step. Just taking a step can be huge. And oftentimes, one of the coolest ones that I found is just telling people, man, it would be so great if I could do this, but I'm not sure how. And you pair that second piece on to that of I'm not sure how. And you just start casting that out to people. Pretty soon the answers will come back to you and you'll be able to take a step. And if you need to, you can adjust, but you just keep taking those steps. So another thought for you is if you couldn't fail, what would you actually be trying? If you knew that you could accomplish virtually anything, and it may take a certain amount of time, it may take a certain amount of effort, you don't know how much time, you don't know how much effort, but if you knew absolutely you couldn't fail, what would you be doing? What would you want to try? What would you want to accomplish? What would you want to build? What would you want to become? Those are some deep thoughts that when you find the answers to those, I think that you'll have more clarity, you'll have more excitement, and you'll have more drive to actually go out and accomplish in your life. I know that that's been the case for me. When I find those moments of quiet solitude inside my own brain, and something unlocks and lets me see where I want to go, I can chase that so much better, even if I don't know the right steps to take. Just moving in the direction I think is the direction of my goals leads me down a path towards what I want to accomplish in the long term, and I can always adjust as I'm going along. Now, I don't have 3 special tricks or do these 5 things and you'll absolutely reach your goal, but I do have a couple thoughts for you. One is to take some time, find a quiet place either in the world, like out here in this beautiful desert, or within your own mind, where you can get down into yourself and discover what it is you would try and chase if you could do anything and you wouldn't fail. And then I would encourage you to start taking action. And if you don't know what action to take a step forward, do some research, tell some people what you're trying to accomplish and say, I'm not sure how to do it. Do you have any ideas? Listen for the feedback, ponder on what they say, and then take a step. Because once you start moving in that direction, you'll find so much more energy, so much more excitement, so much more drive. And I think that rather than wanting to close your eyes and let your moment live forever, you'll want to live with your eyes wide open for the excitement of the future that you have coming your way.